This is training video number 2 for the group, and today we're going to be talking about changing your core beliefs. Now this is going to build on the training video number 1, which talked about the power of words and how the power of words, we can really change our physical health by speaking positive words, by actually having the intention of really being very positive and really affecting the way that we think, affecting our health, and really understanding the importance of being very careful about what we say and the things that we think about ourselves and about the people that we love and the things that we speak over them. And if you're like me, you had pretty much a lot of beliefs that were ungodly beliefs, that were lies about yourself, that a lot of them, or most of them, really got implanted when we were children, when we had negative experiences happen, that we had trauma happen to us, and there were seeds that were planted in us that then started to grow, and we developed these traumas, these lies about ourselves, these things that really have not served us well and really have been things that have held us back in many ways. And so today we're going to have action steps to change that, to replace negative core beliefs with positive core beliefs. Now, many of you know that I'm an attorney. I am not a licensed therapist. I'm not a counselor. But I have had many, many years of counseling, and I want to share what's worked for me and really just give you my testimony, and also point you to people and studies that really have said that this has really worked, and they've had many people give testimonies and had studies to show that this really works. So I'm not just throwing this out there and saying, oh, you know, this is mamby-pamby, I didn't do research from it. I really did. So many of you know me, know that I love to research. I am a perpetual student and I love it. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to be talking something about cognitive behavior therapy. Now stop right there, just stop. Don't think that this whole video is going to be about me just spewing out a whole bunch of science. No, I'm just letting you know this is the technical term, a really fancy schmancy way of saying this is a way to stop thinking negatively. That's really what it is, you know, and at its core, that's what cognitive behavior therapy is to really to stop you from thinking negatively. Now here's just the nutshell of it. The bottom line is it really is about cognitive restructuring. It's about restructuring the way that we think. And how do we do that? Okay, so here's the action step. It's really about identifying and changing the negative thoughts, identifying the negative thoughts when they fly into your head, to change them to more helpful, positive thoughts. Okay, so it seems pretty straightforward, right? So you're like, all right, Laura, big deal, how do you do that? And so one way that's really helped me, and I've talked about this a little bit before, and it's about saturating your brain with positivity, with speaking the truth about who you are, about your identity, about truly who you are, and really speaking and standing on the promises, and for me, standing on the promises of God and promises in the Bible, really understanding my identity from the Bible and who I am in Christ, and understanding that I'm fearfully, wonderfully made, and really standing on all the verses that really speak to who we are. We are priests and kings to our God. We are the king's kids, and we have benefits and rights because of that, because who our beautiful, wonderful, heavenly Papa is. And so when we start to meditate on those things, and what I mean by saturating your brain is, and so I have this blessing board that's in my bedroom. You know, it really is about being just forced to look at it every single day. I have to go that way to go to the bathroom anyway, so it's forced to look at it every single day. And a lot of times I do walk past it and I forget to say my declarations over it. You know, I declare, you know, and decree that, you know, I am fearfully, wonderfully made, that my business is a billion-dollar brand, you know, all of those things that I'm contending for. And yes, I shoot for the fence. I said billion with a B, okay? And I speak those things over myself. I speak those things over my business. I speak over the goals that I want to reach for the month, for the year. Again, I have, you know, if it's helpful to you, print out scripture, print out things that you want to stand on, whether it's maybe it's a famous poem. I actually had a poem that I loved by Maya Angelou that I used to just look at and read, several times a week. Things that inspire you. Print those out, put them on the bathroom mirror, put them on the door to your closet in your bedroom, put it on, the door to the bathroom, put it on your refrigerator, put it everywhere that you're forced to look every single day, and be very intentional about saying, yes, that is for me. That's the way that you saturate your brain with your goals and dreams. Saturate your brain with positivity, speaking your identity through who you are in Christ. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. You're one of the King's kids. All of those wonderful things. And just make sure that you're being very intentional about it. And even having reminders. Put a reminder in your phone. Set it for lunchtime. You say, oh yeah, reminder, that I have to speak a blessing over myself. When we talked about the power of words, really understanding how that is health to your bones and health to your mental, to your emotions, all of those good things. Don't sleep on that. Don't think, oh, it's a waste of time. Remember, Dr. Caroline Leaf says it takes at least 21 days to change a behavior, to break a negative pattern, to really start to change your thinking. And to be honest, she said that's the bare minimum. It really takes 42 days. It really takes 2 cycles of 21 days to really start to change a negative thought. And especially if one has been there since, your childhood. And so be patient with yourself. If you find yourself going back to that negative pattern, don't give up. That's the major problem. Most people give up before they see their breakthrough. Don't pacify yourself. Don't give up before you see your breakthrough. Because I am telling you the truth. I'm giving you my testimony. It works. I have changed my thought pattern so much. I'm still not quite where I want to be, but I'm so different from where I was. And so many people see that through, my Facebook page, and just through talking with me and working with me, interacting with me, that I am so different, especially after my divorce. So different. Just getting away from all that negativity and all that toxic atmosphere. That's another thing too. As much as you possibly can, limit the toxic folks in your life. And that may be family members. So I know that may be difficult. If you see them, every holiday, but just try to stay away from Uncle Bubba, who who's always got something negative to say, always has a joke that they say at your expense, always cutting you down and saying, oh, I'm just joking. Yeah, you're always joking. It's always at my expense. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, just try to, stay positive and saturate yourself with all of those positive things. Another thing is a part of cognitive behavior therapy is mindfulness. And you may have heard this term thrown around, mindfulness. What does that mean to be mindfulness? And you might have, if you've had counseling before, you may have heard your counselor or your therapist talk about or say being very mindful of things. That really is just a way of detaching yourself from your thoughts and your emotions and looking at them from an outsider's point of view. And so what does that mean? That means that you don't just automatically react to something out of your emotions. That's what it's really trying to get you to stop to do. And the goal is really to take control of your emotional reactions to situations by allowing the thinking part of your brain to take over. So let me say that one more time. The goal of mindfulness, or the term mindfulness, is to take control over your emotional reactions to situations by allowing the thinking part of your brain to take over. And if you look at a perfect example of that, you hear some people say, oh, you know what, you hear some Italians say, you know what, I'm Italian, we just react to things and we get angry and we have tempers and da-da-da-da and da-da. You hear some Italian people say that, and, they say, that's just the way we are, or you hear other people groups say that about themselves. That's just the way we are. But mindfulness, cognitive thinking, restructuring your brain really has that pattern interrupt. It stops you from doing what you normally do, and it says, hey, let my thinking part of my brain take over. And it really helps you to get to that place where you are changing your thought patterns, you're being very intentional, you start to remember, oh yeah, I don't want to react that way, or oh yeah, I don't want to just, let my emotions take over. Let me think about this. And you hear people say that all the time, how did that happen? I had this happen to me, or had that happen to me. And people ask you, oh, how did that happen? You say to yourself, or you say to them, oh, you know what? I just wasn't thinking. I just wasn't thinking, and I did this. Or I just wasn't thinking, and I said that. This gets you to start thinking about how you react to things, thinking about when you get triggered by certain things. I know for me, a trigger for me was, feeling like I would have a situation come up, and I would say, oh my gosh, last time that happened, things didn't happen for me, and I struggled with feelings of failure, and I would always react out of my emotions from that. I would get triggered and be very, very emotional by that. And now I've gotten to a place where I am very intentional about letting my thinking part of my brain take over, and not just allowing myself to be triggered and work out of my emotions, or work from a place of fear or regret, things like that. These are the action steps that we're taking. Okay, so let me just go over that again. All right, so we are going to, the action step is to restructure the way that we think about things, restructure that. And so, and a part of that too, let me just touch on this really quickly. A part of that is really understanding the way that you think. Understanding the way that you think. That's really the fastest way to really start to restructure. And what do I mean by that? Let me give you the top 4 ways that people have their thinking patterns, and the way that they can distort reality. And so number 1, just being very black and white about things. There's no gray area. You're very black and white, just very straight line. And to be honest, I was very guilty of that when I was much younger, in my 20s. Everything was very black and white. There was no gray area for me. And so just know that you have 2 extremes. You have extreme thought patterns, either this or that. Number 2, it's called mental filtering. Mental filtering. And that's when you only see negative things. You can have something and one person say, oh wow, that's such a great thing, it's such a blessing. And the way that you look at it, oh wow, you know what, yeah, that may be a good thing, but that's going to cost me a lot of money, it's going to take me 2 years to do it. You start to look at all the negative stuff about it. So that's what mental filtering is. So if you have that thought pattern, just be very conscious of that you do that. And that, that'll help you to say, oh yeah, oh my gosh, I'm looking at that negatively, aren't I? Let me stop that. Let me have that pattern interrupt. Let me replace that with something positive. Overgeneralization. Overgeneralization. That's when, you have one situation that happened to you. You have one situation that is the rule for all other situations. So if last year, when you tried out for, or you went for that promotion in your job, and there is another opportunity for you to have that promotion, overgeneralization and say, you know what, it's going to be the same thing that happened to me last year. It's not going to be anything different. It's having one situation be the rule for every other situation that comes after that. So that's overgeneralization. So if you think like that, just be very conscious of it, and that will help you to stop it. And number 4, jumping to conclusions. And to be honest, at one point or another, I was guilty of all these things. To be honest, I really was. Jumping to conclusions. Believing that you know what others are thinking and predicting the future. That's what jumping to conclusions is. You can be like, oh yeah, you know what? I know what she's going to do. And you know what? Is this going to be a big disaster? Is this going to be, Murphy's Law? What can go wrong will go wrong, and da-da-da-da-da. And so just know what your thinking pattern is, and that'll help you to replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. And here's the last action step that I want to leave you with. Okay, so number 1 is really, if you don't remember anything else from this video, number 1 is saturating your brain with positive thoughts and goals. Again, putting things up in your mirror, having a vision board. Trust me, just take a Saturday afternoon and do it. It is worth the energy, it's worth the effort. It is worth taking time out of your weekend to do it, because it just pays you back in spades. It pays you back so many times over, thousands of times over. Okay, so saturate your brain with positive thoughts and goals. That's number 1. Number 2 is to write down, start to journal, or if you don't even have time to journal, there usually, if you have a smartphone, you have something called voice memos, or you have something that you can record your voice on your telephone. So if you don't feel like writing it down, record it and listen to it several times a day. So if you have a negative thought pattern like, oh, you know what, I'm never going to be able to, reach that goal or reach that dream because I'm not smart enough. It's going to cost too much money. It's going to take too long. It's going to take me 3 years to do it. Whatever it is that is discouraging you, I want you then to replace that to say, no, or speaking to your phone or journal, I believe that I am going to be able to reach that goal and dream. I believe that I am smart enough to take all the courses and get an A so that I can get that certificate so that I can get that promotion or change my career or whatever it is that you're contending. Replace that negativity saying that you can't do it and write down or speak into your phone and say, I believe XYZ, whatever it is that is the opposite of the negative thought or the negative thought pattern or the discouraging thought that comes into your mind. So one example for me was I didn't believe that I could really start this business. And so I spoke into my phone, said, I believe that I am an entrepreneur. I believe that I am going to overcome all of the hurdles that it's going to take to start this business. I believe that I am smart enough to do this business. I believe that I'm not going to run out of money before I get this business off the ground. I believe that I have favor with all the people that I need to be in contact with to start this business. I believe that I'm going to be able to attract the clientele that I need, people that I want to and love to work with. I believe that I can make a difference in people's lives. All of those things. That's the way that you turn around and combat and saturate your brain and listen to the truth about yourself. So I hope that you find this training video, these action steps that I've given you, this homework that I've given you. Start that vision board. Print out those scriptures that are really inspiring, or those poems, or those pictures of people that are really inspirational to you, whether you have a picture of Maya Angelou on your vision board or whoever inspires you. I have, people who know me know that I love Nick Vujicic. He's the guy that has no arms and legs. And I spoke about him in the first video. I have a picture of him on my vision board. Do what you need to do. That means you got to get radical, then get radical, because radical results requires radical changes. So I don't care if people criticize you and laugh at you and say, what is all this crap on your bathroom mirror? What is all this garbage on your walls? What is this stuff on your refrigerator door? Who cares? You do what you need to do. You do what the situation requires in order for you to be able to catapult yourself ahead. This is the way God wants to partner with you to get you to that place, to reach that goal and vision, for you to walk in the fullness of God's dreams and plans and purposes, the things that are spoken over your life, the reason why you are on the planet. That's what we want to do. So I hope you find this as a blessing. I hope you're looking forward to the next training video for next month. Please, if you're blessed by this, if you had a big takeaway from this, put a comment in the comment section. Let me know what's working, what's not working. And if you have an epiphany, if you have an aha moment, and you think that the other ladies in a group would benefit from it, put it in the comment section. Even if you think, oh, that's really nothing, you'll be surprised, because that little comment that you make in passing that you think is no big deal may be the very thing that unlocks that big thing for somebody else in the group. So don't pass it over and think oh, it's no big deal, or I don't really have the 2 minutes to really type this out. Take the time. If you really feel like, what, I really should share this, go ahead and share it. This is what this group is for. I speak a blessing of you ladies, and I just love you, and until next time.